to them.
That's the esters of the yeast that they use. The water they went an extra because they have water. It's right off the German Alps, and so they always use it. But they actually tap in this. What was it? An extra 500 feet. It was 500 feet below. They can get water anywhere there, but
Germany.
in Eying, the town. So they had like a standard well, which they brew all their other beers. But this particular one, they get down. It's glacier fed, like water that comes down, and they don't even purify it. It comes out of this faucet, and they bottle it, and they sell just the water. and it's the certain abbey, like that's all they want is that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
all these nuns like, this is beautiful water.
And then the monks are like, we will make beer from it.
Yeah.
Hey, it's better that way. Okay. Is it 6? I don't have a clock.
Hang on.
Is it 6? It is. It's 6 o'clock. It is.
6:01.
It's 6:01. And since there still isn't an intro to play, I think I'll get to it by saying this episode is being streamed live on our YouTube channel at Packfiller Productions, as well as the one and only Podbean app. You can play along directly with us through comments or even call the show on the app. We are live every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and of course available on all platforms that provide great podcasts. That sounds like what you'd hear before a public television show by a virtuous grant.
That's nice.
By Podbean.
I like that.
Yeah. Also, this episode brought to you by our friends at Gooder Sunglasses, home of the coolest styles, ever-changing models and colors, and holy shit, there's a ton coming out. Speaking of which, I'll talk about that and them coming out here too. Fully polarized lenses, non-slip frames, so affordable you can buy around 10 pair compared to the spendy douchebags. Head over to Gooder.com today to see the newest offerings. And finally, thanks to Giant Bicycles. Yep. That Giant Bicycles. All models for all riding styles and speeds. Hey, you want to be like Pat? That's probably not a good endorsement. But ride life, ride Giant. I love my TCR Advanced SL, and you will too. So, hey, everybody, let's do this. Last time I said SL, TCR Advanced Pro, and Carson had to correct me.
Just an SL.
Yeah, I can't afford the Pro, apparently. Hey, the Giro is entering a Tuesday rest day, which is kind of weird. Jackson was here, now he isn't, which is kind of weird. Paul didn't feel very good on a bike ride, which is weird. And finally, Pat felt good on a bike ride, which is the final sign of the apocalypse. Hey, let's see who's with us. Welcome to another episode of the Packfiller Podcast. I'm Pat Bulger, and it is a Monday. It is 6 p.m., and as I mentioned in the intro to the intro, it must be time for a show. So let's see who's with us. As I mentioned before, he's now got 2 shots. He still rode through the second, and that means he's very likely not human. Mr. Paul Main, how are you, man?
Doing all right, thanks.
Second of all, he's a college grad, and he's currently unemployed, and that is just fine. It is time to ride. Let's welcome Jackson Bulger. How are you, dude?
Doing well, yeah. I like the intro.
Yeah, you got it. And me, well, I'm the guy that does the taxes in the family, which means I finished them last night. I'm Pat Bulger, and I guess that's it. That's the intro. Jack's not here. We've got 2 empty microphones here.
I heard from Jack.
Did you?
Yeah, he left a message. I have to inspect one of his jobs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's all we get from Jack.
Yeah.
Is that he just wants personal shit done.
Yeah.
Did you tell him you would if he rode a bike?
He left a message.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Hey, everybody, the swag boxes are on the way. I still have the team boxes to mail. I just need to kind of explain this really quickly so everybody is on the same page here. The team boxes are the people who paid the $60 for the whole year. But those boxes are going out with gooders, and you get to pick your gooders. So if you go to the super secret Facebook page that all the team members get to be a part of, you get to. I posted a photo of all the glasses I have here, and I will send you out. You get to pick which pair you would like of the ones we've got. It's a big, huge, wonderful gift from our friends at Gooder Sunglasses. So you get to pick those out. First come, first served. I am also including This is a very special time. July's box in this one, because I was sitting here thinking to myself, Pat, do you want to pay shipping for 2 packages? Number one. That was my selfish reason. My other reason was people are going to want their roadie socks that I'm calling them, and they're going to want a cool beer cozy. I have the roadie socks that are coming out that they don't fit over your calf. But I have coolies, the cane coolies, the cozies that are going out to everybody, and this is my Giro one, but the Tour de France ones are going out in this box, and I figured people don't want to get a goodie box halfway through the tour when they could be sitting at their cafe at their dinner table drinking beer during the tour with something that says Tour de Packfiller, and I actually spelled it D-U-H just because I thought that'd be funny. I do have to confess something. I spent a little time today getting these dialed in, and I made my Tour de France ones. And for those of you not in the sublimation business, which is hopefully everybody, you have to reverse everything because it's a mirror image. Basically, you're printing a mirror image onto an object. And quick quiz: does everybody know what the French flag backwards is?
That would be
red, white, blue.
It's blue, white, red.
Blue, white, red, and I'm trying to think of the nationality.
I think it's the Netherlands. Yeah.
Netherlands is horizontal.
No, that's horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not France.
No.
So I made half of them today, and if you would like a fuck up can koozie, which actually is the wrong country, come and pick them up. I'll just give you one of those. It's a $7 value, and I will give it to you for free because I fucked up a good portion of them. I'm sitting there pressing them, going, "Wow, I reversed everything but the flag."
What are you, left-handed?
Yeah, I know, I'm an idiot. But those are coming out, and this box alone, everybody's worth $50 retail. So for those of you who are members and are trying to make sure you understand the value and everything, I promise it's all coming your way. Hey, you guys, let's talk about who's been writing. First of all, who's been writing, and how much have you been writing? Paul, do you want to go?
Yeah, well,
how's your week been, Chief?
Well, I was kind of disappointed because Thursday I wanted to do that ride we talked about in the last podcast.
Yeah.
But I got my second shot on Wednesday, and I took the day off. And I felt okay. I worked around the yard, felt tired, dehydrated. Might drink a lot. And by the end of the day, I was glad because I was exhausted. I went to bed like at 8:30.
Oh, wow.
No headaches, no what everybody else seems to experience, but I was extremely tired. Friday I woke up, I just felt like a hangover type, that tired.
So normal.
So I was comfortable with that. And then Saturday we did our ride. And at first I felt pretty good. I woke up, it felt normal. It really hit me when Jackson and I sprinted for the plaza sign.
Yeah.
After that, it's like I was done.
Really?
Yeah, that's when the lights went out. So, I mean, I felt fairly good and taking decent pulls and, but
we'll get into the details of the Saturday ride. But Jackson, how was your ride week? I know how some of it was.
Yeah, so last week I rode, I think, every day but 2 of the days. And then we did our long ride Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. And then I was able to get out again today just for a little bit of a tester to see how the new bike is on the Portland roads. And yeah, that's kind of all I've done so far.
I'm trying to think what my ride week was. I did Wednesday. Oh, God. Am I going to tell the Wednesday story? Hopefully nobody's eating. I'll tell the Wednesday story, I guess. Tuesday I didn't do anything, right, Jay? We didn't do anything on Tuesday. No, we did the show last Tuesday. Wednesday was the Wednesday night mountain bike race. I decided to do 2 laps, and unbeknownst to me, the people who put the course together just thought they'd fuck with anybody with a hardtail, because it was I think it was about a 7.5 mile lap. Jackson, would you say about there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
And which doesn't sound like much, but on a mountain bike, it's a little longer, and it's race pace. And I did 2 laps, and the entire course, as I think I said it earlier, that it was an experience in more technical riding than fitness. And I know that there's a combination of both. For those of you guys who are just saying, fuck you, mountain biking is fitness. Yes, it is. It is a fuck ton of fitness. You have to be a good technical rider, you have to have a fitness base. But this one was a lot more just, I don't know what they call them, toenails or baby heads or whatever they are. They're just the rocks half sticking out of the ground and just randomly placed all over the place. Rock garden kind of a feel to it. And it was brutal. And I was bouncing all over the place on my hardtail mountain bike. And needless to say, I developed a little bit of a
say it,
hemorrhoid issue from it. And I share everything on this show. See what I do to you people? And needless to say, I was not in a good way after that. I abused myself, and I'm still feeling the repercussions of it, repercussions of it.
Dun, dun, dun.
And but not holy shit, because there was no holy shits involved. It was not comfortable, and I didn't realize how important that area is. And so that was pretty brutal. And so Thursday, Jackson and I were talking about going and doing the Spirited ride, and I had it in my gut somewhere that there was going to be a crash. I felt it for some reason, and I was like going,
like a trembling in the force.
That disturbance in the force. Yeah. Yes, I felt it, and it was weird. And I was like going, I don't just, and I don't want to pick on the guys on that ride, but I did a little bit the other day, saying that there were varied amounts of experience within that group. And that's fine. And I maybe need to lighten the fuck up and just go ride. But I just felt that there was going to be a crash. And so I looked at Jackson and I said, first of all, I bummed my bum. And second of all, I don't think I have it in the tank. And third of all, I think there's going to be a crash tonight. And Jackson, you looked at me and said,
well, I said we don't screw with that type of stuff, especially because when I talked to my girlfriend about it, she was like, that's so weird, because I had that exact same feeling. And to me, that's like, if two people are feeling that, then it's a for sure no-go.
And I don't think there was a crash. So in other words, if we would have gone, one of us would have caused it, probably. Basically.
Or crashed.
Yeah. So maybe it's better. The butterfly effect went perfectly into, and everything was good there. And then this Saturday ride, we had it in our minds to do this loop of the state championship course that we're training for, and to get out there, it's a little jaunt out there. The lap, what did you say the lap was? Mileage.
20. What was it? 27 miles or something.
27 miles per lap.
Yeah.
And then it was a good distance. It was another 27 or 8 to get out there and back. So we did about 84, something like that. And it was. I thought, I don't know what, the more I talk to you guys, first of all, I want to ask Paul, what the hell were you thinking scheduling an 80 mile ride when you weren't feeling so hot in the first place?
You got to do it any time you can. It was an 80-degree day. It was perfect.
It was.
I didn't know how. I like in the morning I felt decent, but obviously towards the end I didn't feel so good. So, and I had problems with the hamstring, which we had Bike Fit Sam with us.
Sam was with us, yeah.
And he says, you need to come see us at Tailwind, so I'm going to do that.
What's going on? Because the listener who doesn't know what's going on, usually in some of the longer distance stuff, you start to get a little twinge in your hamstring.
So, 11 years ago, I had a really bad crash where I put out an outrigger to keep from crashing, and I tore my hamstring. And I tore it in several places, and my glute, it looked like somebody took a Bic pen and just put dots, the little bruises all over my left butt cheek. And then it bled so bad that my foot turned purple. It ran down. It was purple running down my leg. So it was a pretty bad one.
Jesus.
And then because it was in the middle it was early in the season, I went to Tailwinds, and they did ultrasound, they did all kinds of things, and I did a little bit of physical therapy, but race season was going forward, and I just
of course
went back into it. And there's ill effects of that is you start using other muscle groups, like my right leg works over. I have a huge dead spot on my left rotation.
Wow.
That my right has to kind of like kick. So anyway,
Wow.
Sam says he's going to do something. Yeah. So I run like about, I'm going to guess 70% of what I should on my left leg when I ride.
Wow. Okay.
So.
And it's just a PT kind of an issue?
Yeah, and then plus with I have no lateral strength, and so when I do yoga, any tree pose or any poses where you have one leg is balance or anything like that, I don't have any. My hips are weak, so yeah,
we all
work
have
on
to
that.
do more shit on
Yeah, especially when you get older.
Off the bike, don't
Yeah,
we?
when you're younger, it's not
damn it.
but when you get older, it just starts.
God
getting
damn
worse.
it!
Yeah, I know.
Jackson, how's the new bike working out for 80 miles? I mean, you're your fifth ride on it to just suddenly go, I'm going to do 85 miles. What the hell? Punk.
Yeah, it was. As I titled my Strava ride, it was what a way to break in a new bike. But I think BMC really focused on trying to make an aero bike comfortable. Like I showed you, the handlebars, they have a little bit of flex in them, so they take up that road vibration, which is really nice. The only kind of issue that I noticed was my saddle was really rubbing on me, the one that came with the bike, because I was interested to try it out because it was kind of like the one I have above me. It's kind of flared out in the back. It's a bit of a shorter saddle, but just not the one I'm used to, not the one that I had always had on, so we changed it back. And other than that, it's a really comfortable bike. I'm very happy with it.
And this,
he came up to me and he was like, "It looks like it's pretty much dead on for fit wise." So
yeah, because I basically measured everything off of your current road bikes. I figured why fix what isn't broken. How does 80 feel? How does 80 feel on the legs? Have you this your longest ride of the year so far?
Yeah, so I think I said when we passed 48 miles that it was my longest ride since August. So I thought that I fared well for 80 miles. I was pretty happy with how my body reacted. So
I just want to say that I think I've always had this philosophy throughout my cycling career that there are certain days where it's like just the stars align and you're just given like 5 tickets a year maybe where you feel really good, right? And fucking Saturday was my ticket day. As the ride progressed, I felt better and better and better. And I'm sitting here just going, oh, shit, I'm wasting my ticket. No offense to you guys, but I'm wasting my ticket because, Paul, you had your second shot in you, so that's probably why I felt better. Bike Fit Sam, who was with us, was great to have him along with us. How do I say it? He drank a half a bottle of bourbon the night before.
And the day before that, they rode over 100.
Yeah, they rode over 100 the day before, too. Yeah, so the guy's just like...
40, where it was it?
He's just fucking with us, basically. Yeah. So there's that, okay, my ticket, yeah. Jackson had not done over 40 this year, and Keith was with us. I haven't mentioned Keith very often. He's a Packfiller team member who was with us, and he turned around at 25 in, and good thing he did because the zipper broke on his jersey, and he was flapping in the wind. It wasn't a good thing. So I'm sitting here thinking, God, I'm feeling better and better and better, but maybe I wasn't feeling good. Maybe just everybody else was feeling bad.
No.
This is what goes through my fucking head anymore. This is me. This is how my head works now. I just don't think I deserve to be fast.
It does. The universe doesn't function like that. I'm sorry. You little narcissist.
I'm not thinking that you guys were there as a part of my performance, but
you have your good days. You have your
I
bad
had a
days.
good day, but it wasn't. Was it really a good day, or was it just everybody else?
It might have
having
been.
A bad day?
Maybe you're increasing and you're getting better, and you have even better days yet. Have you ever thought of that?
I wanted that to be my good day.
Well, I would rather save that. That's on my way to be a good day.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. There are going to be better days. There are going to be better days.
Bob Roll one time said that somebody was interviewing about cycling, and he says it's just hard work, and you're always feeling crappy and stuff like that. 97% of the time, you're wondering why you do that, and 3% of the time, it's the best feeling in the world, the most euphoric in the world. And the guy goes, 97%. Why would you do that? And he goes, because the 3%. That's 3%. What keeps you going.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, by the way, it was great having Bike Fit Sam with us. We're going to have him on here pretty soon because he's going to come and talk to us about his Bike Fit stuff that he's doing and all the really cool stuff he's got going on. He's got his own website and everything. I mean, like legit and shit. Yeah. So yeah, there we go.
What's he doing hanging around with us?
I don't know. Like an idiot riding off a hangover.
Yeah, that's right. I could ride with you. I'll be really hungover.
Yeah, exactly. I am seriously thinking, by the way, and I think I threw this out to you guys, but I didn't get much of a response back. So I'm going to throw it out to the audience because I don't think you guys think it's a good idea of scheduling some spirited rides, like the other local club. I'll say their name. Should I say their name?
Yeah. Because some people may want to try them.
Team ODZ. I don't know what ODZ stands for. They've been a team that's been around here for probably 5, 6, 7 years.
More longer than that.
Longer than that.
Yeah, because Justin Palouse we took over. Yeah, it's probably been 6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
So 7 or at least 7 years. A club full of a bunch of good people. Been putting on a spirited ride series on Thursdays, which meets every like I said, Thursday at 6 o'clock, and they do this. They've been doing the same loop currently, I think. And you sign a waiver, and it's not a race, but it's a fast fucking ride. And I think they're great for doing it, and I think we need more of this in our community. And so, with the loss of our Tuesday night series, which we used to have called the Twilight series, I was thinking to myself about maybe I should put together some ride series on Tuesdays. Now, I want to throw this to you guys first, and I want to throw it to the listeners also. How interesting would it be to do a series of rides that weren't all necessarily meet at this place, do this course? So what I'm saying is, week 1, it is a circuit that Paul schemes that is evil and probably has mixed surfaces and some horrible climbs on it. Week 2 is a time trial where I set a Strava segment where you can do it any time on the day of that day. Week 3 is a DIY challenge where you have to find your own course, and people who don't necessarily live in Spokane can do the race. Week 4 is a different course or stuff like that. So you split it up throughout the entire summer, meaning I don't have to necessarily organize a race, get permits and all that kind of stuff. But we have all kinds of stuff going on throughout the entire year. It's just that Tuesday's the day you do it. That just popped into my head. This is the shit that sits in my head. This and obviously a very large inferiority complex.
Which you pointed out earlier.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm tying the two together. I suck, and here's an idea. That's what I'm presenting. What do you guys think? I mean, just because like when we were doing the Jackson, when you and I were doing the bike towns in Bend, they have a Tuesday night Worlds, they call it, and it is the same course, kind of like what our local friends here are doing here. I thought, God, could we mix it up? Could we say even one week it's a gravel route, and we have a GPS map that we send to people, and they can go out and do the gravel route whenever they want. Or maybe I'm sitting there with a table and a timing pad in the middle of nowhere, and I say, okay, between 6 and 7:30, I'm going to be the idiot sitting out there by myself, and I'll time your lap. And what I would do is I would kind of like the Packfiller Classic last year. I would post the results. But if it's once a week, I could post the results instead of a 5-day stage race like I did idiot mode last year. Maybe it would be fun. So I want to hear from you guys first, and then I want to hear from the listeners as they listen to the show. Would that be something you'd be interested in? And I know the people who don't live in Spokane who are going, fuck, what's the point of me, getting involved? That's why we'd have the DIYs. We'd have things like that you could get involved in. There, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you guys answer.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think it's, giving more people, non-registered competition, especially. I've said it every single time we've had this type of conversation, but especially in a time where things are kind of unpredictable, becoming more predictable, luckily. Yeah, I like the idea, especially having, especially kind of coordinating with on a Tuesday with the local area other races that are going on as well. So you get a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of spirited ride, racing ride, stuff like that. I like the idea, and it gives more people the opportunity to race in it. I think creates a cycling community in a time where sometimes there isn't necessarily the biggest of cycling communities, specifically in the road communities. So yeah, I like the idea. Anything for any sort of bike riding, bike racing is always good by me.
Note I didn't just say road, because I was thinking of some, and we're going to get into this as the show progresses, some mixed surfaces, maybe some gravel stuff, things like that. I'm not going to put on mountain bike races. That's not my format, but, go from there. But even some time trials, I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, well, Bike Fit Sam, several years ago, was trying to get, World Championship Series going on, just like Ben. Every city has, bigger city does. I don't know. I haven't talked to him about that. It didn't work on my time. But consistency of knowing like this ODZ guys that every Thursday at this point, there is a bonus to that because everybody knows the course. Everybody, when you change the courses up, then people are like, do I take a left? When you're competitive, you don't want to leave that open.
Okay.
I mean, for me, if you threw it in there once in a while, like, around here, you could say a time trial from the Y at, Course Brutale and then there'll be a mark on the road and back, something that somebody's familiar with, but there's still going to be people who haven't done it before. So I think that's where all the communities, and just like when we had the breakfast ride, that was the same thing every Sunday.
Really?
And that's the benefit. It is like, I don't feel like it, or I want to do something fast today, and it's just show up. Whoever wants to do it, it's know it's going to be full gas. So and you get the course, and there's no question. Do I take a left here or right?
Sure.
So
with the transformation of GPS, I also think that's that people can have it on their handlebars. Sorry, I don't mean to bring to the fact that you don't ride with a computer on your handlebars. You old fart. Yeah, boy. Hey, you boys. Yeah, but some people can do that.
Yeah.
But I guess you don't want to be staring your computer head while you're trying to be aware of what's been going on in a race. So
yeah,
I don't know. So these are the things that float around in my tiny little brain. So we'll go from that. We'll see what happens. So maybe a same course, maybe not a same course, maybe or something like that. I don't want to. I just realized that I'm the guy who's going to have to be going out there and doing this probably every week, and I don't necessarily know if I can hold myself accountable to be out there every week, to commit to June through August. Every Tuesday, I'm going to be there. I can't say I'm going to do that. Hell, I'm traveling. Jackson and I are traveling to San Diego to do the Belgian waffle ride, and that's 2 Tuesdays we're going to miss right there. So I don't know.
And you are married.
And I'm married, and she tends to like it when I'm home.
Yep.
Within a reasonable hour. When the street lights come on, things like that. So there we go. That's a 28-minute intro. Hey, you guys, let's get to the Giro d'Italia. I should have actually picked some Italian music to play in the background. So we are at stage 10, and I'm assuming everybody has done their homework and are up to speed on every stage. And I'm going to tell Jackson, did you watch today's stage? This is I'm looking at your face to see if you've watched today's stage.
Is he smiling?
I watched it in my bedroom while my girlfriend was in class today.
He's perky. He's perky, which means he officially knows the stage. Yeah. Exactly. What do you think?
The results.
Yeah. You know how it finished, right? Your boy. What?
Can you hear me and everything?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure.
What do you think of your boy? coming home, bringing it.
I
He's
don't know if you noticed.
He's got the Saga
But,
shirt. I wore that very shirt yesterday, so not that one, but mine
Well,
version of that shirt.
We share.
That'd be creepy.
shirts, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be a
But
little tight.
I was pretty happy, and he had quite the sprint coming off of the back of the UAE rider today. So.
That curve, that final turn where he went wide. I love, by the way, Bernie Eisel. Is it Bernie Eisel?
Yeah.
Who's doing the commentary on GCN?
Yeah.
He's talking about how the lay of the sprints and things like that. And he said right before that, the outside line is the fastest one on this. And Sagan went in close and then swung wide when he came out of that turn. He was hauling ass. And go ahead, Jay.
What? Oh yeah, you saw him lose the wheel of the UAE rider and then pick up that draft and then just fly around him. That was made me giddy.
It was pretty impressive, and that was Gaviria, wasn't it?
And Gaviria couldn't come around. That was his teammate leading him.
Oh, okay. Oh my God! I was happy to see that, and I've got some questions about Peter Sagan as we get going here. So, how many points do we all have at this point, gentlemen? I will give you. Hopefully, do you guys have your riders in front of you?
Yeah, I already.
You already know your points.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do this for the riders at home. First stage, Ghana, Affini, Foss. Second stage, my handwriting is horrible. Merlier, Nizzolo, Viviani. Third stage, Vanderhorn, Kimalai. My pronunciation is going to be terrible. Peter Sagan on third. Fourth is Dombrowski, Demarchi, Fiorelli. Stage 5, Caleb Ewan, Nizzolo, Viviani. Stage 6, Mader Bernal and Dan Martin. Stage 7, Caleb Ewan, I have his name again. Chimolai. I'm going to go with that. Chimolai? Okay. And Merlier. I'm sure he's okay with me destroying his name. Stage 8, Lafay, Gavazzi, and Arndt. Stage 9, Bernal, Ciccone, and Vlasov. Stage 10, as of today, turn it off if you haven't seen it yet, Peter Sagan, Gaviria, and Chimolai. There he is again. I fucked up his name 3, 4, 5 times. The guy's been consistent as shit. Did anybody think to pick him?
No.
Fuck no. Did anybody know who he was before this? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Really? I'd heard the name. I just couldn't tell you what he looked like if he was in a police lineup. So, I believe I stated originally it was 5 points for first place in a stage. Second place for 2 points for second place in a stage. 1 point for third in a stage. Overall, at the end, is going to get 40 points. Overall, sprint at the end is going to get 20 points. And overall, climber at the end is going to get 20 points. So. They didn't get the full thing because we aren't even close. We're only at 1 week into the Giro. I have 2 points. I have 2 goddamn points because I blew off Bernal because everybody was picking Bernal, and I wanted to be the guy who was a fan of the band that wasn't signed. You know, I wanted to go for the indies. I wanted to be hipster. I wanted to be cool. I'm a fucking idiot. And so I'm sitting here with Simon Yates and Hugh Carthy. So my overall guys are just sucking donkey balls right now. My sprinter, did I have Caleb Ewan? No. Did I have Peter Sagan? No. I had Viviani. So I've got 2 points from Viviani, which might actually help me in the long run. Yeah. It might come around. My outsider was João Almeida. Nowhere. My random rider, Bakamulama. Nowhere. He's been in there. But he hasn't. I can't be hard on these guys. They're working hard. They're doing what they can. But they're just not coming through for me. Paul Main, how many points do you have and
10.
why? 10?
Yeah. Because I had Caleb Ewing, which I'm not going to get any more points from.
Fuck!
Because he pulled out of he has a bum knee. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to get back to my microphone.
You don't believe it? I think it is true.
Bum knee.
Yeah, he has a bad knee.
You really think so?
Well, there's a podcast, cycling podcast. They have a guy that's they talked to a guy that is one of the teammates from Lauderdale, and he said, yeah, he banged his knee like at the hotel or something like that, and so
Really?
it was bothering him. And,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he didn't plan on finishing, but it was sooner than he thought, because I think everybody thought he would make it till today, because then it really changes.
His performance in that second stage win, which was stage 7, he looked like he could conquer the gods.
Yeah.
He went way early, closed the gap, and just
And slide uphill.
yeah. That was absolutely
Yeah.
impressive what he did that day.
He got it right.
He did. Jackson. So Paul has 10. How many points you got, buddy?
I think I have 14
Of course you do.
because I got Bernal the win. I got Vlasov for second, and I also got Sagan in third and first.
Oh, my wife
so
left the dog
I think I have 14. I could recheck that, but that's what I'll say for now.
14 points. Paul has 10.
How many do you have, Pat?
I got 2. I have to text my wife. Can you come
I don't mind,
get
except
the
his tail's
dog?
banging against it.
Oh, there she is. There she is. I don't have you on camera, hun. Don't worry about it.
Make sweet love to Paul's leg. Come on.
That came through on mic, though.
In that case, I do care if he
Our
leaves.
dog has a very strong love affair with Paul's legs. Okay, I'm really pissed I dumped Bernal. We talked about the abandonment of Caleb Bune. Is Bernal unbeatable at this point, gentlemen?
Too early.
Man,
It's way too early.
That climb, that gravel climb.
When he popped in the big ring, he was talking my
Holy
talk.
shit.
Yeah.
That was an absolutely amazing performance. He just gritted his teeth and absolutely crushed it. Jackson, thoughts on Bernal? Is this? I mean, we have seen Grand Tours where it's been over after the first week, where you can just look, you can go, yep, that's it. That was fun. Got to miss classics. Jay?
I think the only two right now that can really do it are either Vlasov or Remco. And I think one thing that I heard that was really interesting from the commentators was that if Remco leaves it to a time trial with a couple seconds to spare, that's exactly what he would want. And so I think that in that case, if he leaves it to where he doesn't have too big of a gap, he doesn't have a minute gap, or he doesn't have that big of time, like if he doesn't have that much time to make up, I think he is our main contender. I think Vlasov could maybe take him in a climb, but Bernal's just looking really good. So I think watch the space for that time trial, because I think Remco could do some damage.
My question about Remco is because he's so untested. Is 3 weeks something that he's got in the tank for somebody who really hasn't done this type of an effort?
No one
for a
knows.
year?
No one knows.
That's
Yeah.
the question.
But if he does, he's prime sitting. Like Jackson's saying, that guy can time trial. He can blow the doors off of Bernal. Bernal needs as much time now if they keep the same kind of scenario. But I mean, everybody from the top 10 on are within a minute.
Yeah.
And look at Sean Yates. Wow, Simon Yates in 2018. The first 2 weeks he was unstoppable. Everybody's like, it's sewn up.
Yeah.
And then Froome just attacked on that one day, and it was the day he had a bad day. And Gandhi, the guy was gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, you never know. Bernal his back could give out. Wednesday's ride, and that's a problem. There's a lot of gravel, so somebody could have a mechanical, and it could change the whole thing, the whole dynamics of the layout. So Vlasov, which didn't you pick him, Jackson?
I sure did.
Yeah. Now, that's an unknown. He's shown, a lot of talent, but yeah, he's certainly. I would be, if I was in the Ineos camp, that would be the one I'd really be concerned about.
How about with Peter Sagan? I want to talk about that before we get to the concepts of what's going on. Is he becoming more of an opportunistic sprinter? Is his true top end, high afterburner type of a sprint a thing of the past? I'm going to ask that to Jackson because I know he's your boy.
Yeah, I think he finds creative ways to win, which I really appreciate. He can find a stage. Because I don't think he's never going to out sprint the likes of like Caleb Ewan.
Yeah,
that's just something that I think he even knows, and I think everybody knows. But what I really do appreciate is that, like, for instance, on days like today, when Bora can identify a stage and they go, okay, there's some steep pitches in here, let's get rid of the rest of the sprinters. I mean, they did it in the Tour last year with Sam Bennett.
Yeah,
and I think he now knows that he might not have that top end sprint that the other younger guys might have, but he still can find ways to be consistent. I mean, he's been up there for most of the sprint days, which I think is very good, especially for his Ciclamino hopes.
Yeah. Is anybody not surprised by Remco Evenepoel being where he is? I assume 99% of the populace is going, holy shit, I expected him to do well, but not this well.
I expect him to do like where he's at. The question is
really?
Beyond, because before his crash, every 1 week stage race he entered, he won.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 7-8 days. Now the question is beyond that. And I know that they were, today the technology and checking his numbers, I'm sure they're saying they put him on a training schedule to see what his numbers were after a hard, so. But there's too many factors: getting sick, eating the wrong thing, missing a feed. That's what makes a Grand Tour, so unpredictable. So yeah, and everybody has a bad day.
Yeah.
And did he have it? Maybe his bad day was the stage that Bernal won.
Yeah.
I mean, he lagged way back. He made a heck of an effort to get fourth place even. I mean, he was
something happened in that tunnel. I've been hearing online.
Oh, really?
Too. Yeah,
I haven't heard that.
I don't know
What'd you hear?
Jackson's nodding.
I heard that apparently one of the Ineos riders swung over on him, and they clipped his front wheel, and so he dropped a few places, and then he had to try and make that up once the gravel hit.
On Remco?
And so, yeah.
Bet it was Gianni Moscon.
It probably wasn't that frickin' prick.
Fucking asshole.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. That this is helping me out, and where I'm about to take this with the Giro is I'm going to take this kind of into an ongoing theme that is going to ride throughout the rest of this podcast, and this was Paul's brainchild, so we're gonna run with this. I want to ask you guys about the inclusion of gravel in these races, about stages, sections. All those types of things where they are including these multiple surfaces. First of all, I want to ask your opinions on it. Is it justified? Is it cruel? Is it cool? Do these alternative, and I put alternative because it's such an overused term, into quotations, are these alternative surfaces, do they have a place in stage racing? And yeah, I guess that's my initial question. So see what you guys think about that. I don't know who wants to go first.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I think they definitely. I think depending on the amount or the severity of it, I think it definitely can belong. Like we see with obviously the recent stage of the Giro and races like Strada Bianca. I think that what we're seeing it showcases the best rider, not only the best road cyclist, but the best bike rider in the entire Grand Tour, which I think is something that I appreciate personally. We see that, for instance, Bernal had the capability and the wherewithal to, when he was given that full gas sprint, he leaned back so he didn't lose all that power when he would put it down in the gravel. So I think we're we're seeing not only like these great road riders, which all of them are, but I think we're also seeing like really amazing bike handlers, just all around cyclists in general, which I think, from my perspective, is very appreciated.
Paul.
Yeah, I think it does. I know that, like there was several years ago, 2013, was that it? 14, when Nibali won. Froome crashed out.
Yeah.
And
because of a surface day.
No, it was a surface day, but he crashed on pavement. And that's what put him out. So,
Okay,
everybody wants to put those together.
Really?
But if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
remember, he crashed like in a roundabout or something and broke his wrist. And Nibali, I think, got third on the day, or he was fantastic over the cobbles. Now, to me, at Grand Tour, you're trying to find the greatest bicyclists, especially Tour de France. So
Yeah.
that, if you have all mountains, like the Vuelta has, like, everybody knows that's a climber's. No sprinter. A sprinter goes there for a couple of them, and then they hang on.
Yeah.
The Giro has its own variety. Time trials, the exclusion of time trials in the Tour, because it seemed too heavy to have, like the small little Quintanas. They could have a 3-minute lead, or even for an example, Andy Schleck, when he lost in 2011, when he lost to Cadel Evans, he did a stellar ride up to the Galibier and had this huge time gap, but he lost it all on the last time trial. And that's Stephen Roach beat,
Well, you got
Delgado
Pantani
in
on the opposite end of
1987
that, too.
Yeah, well, he was loaded to the gills. That helped.
Yeah, that helps. That does help.
But I'm sure they all were. But nevertheless, to me, it's like a balance. If you can time trial, the best cyclist, to me, that's what I liked about it. Your strengths might be in the mountains, so you better grab. That's part of the strategy. You need to grab as much money like Bernal is doing right now before you lay in the time, instead of like, oh, it's a time trial. I don't have to, I'll put in an effort just not to lose my time. So when it comes to gravel, the only thing is I don't want it to get to the point where they have to use completely different bikes. I mean, a different tire width and stuff, and same with the Roubaix sections in there.
Yeah.
They're basically using the same bike. But once you start going, like, well, you got to cross a river, and then you got to hike your bike, I don't want to see that.
But you know what? My next question was going to be, and I wrote it thinking you guys were going to think I was absolutely absurd. What's to stop races from putting a mountain bike loop into the race, or a gravel bike loop into a race? Things like that, where all of a sudden the bike, it becomes, I mean, mind you, a time trial is a different bike.
Good point.
But maybe the surface is going to suddenly change the bike you're using, and are these guys going to suddenly start switching bikes? Does the addition of different types of surface border upon a potential, and I hate to use the term, multi-sport classification? Are we pushing the border here of all these different surfaces actually changing the sport?
Well, I would argue that before there was cobblestone stages in the Tour way back, and there was gravel. They raced on frickin' gravel hills all the time. The Tourmalet and all those were gravel roads. So yeah, it's they didn't have to hike, or things have changed and evolved where you had to bring do your own repairs and stuff, and then they had support.
Yeah.
We don't want to de-evolutionize back to that. That's a different creature. I like the advancement, but I don't think we need to start excluding where you have to have freshly paved pavement, and all the conditions have to be right.
Yeah.
And truncate a stage because it's raining up here, and down here it's better. That type of thing. I don't think you should do that. So,
Jackson, you got an input on this one?
Yeah, I think I think if we have to add other bikes to this scenario, I think we're creating a different sport entirely. I think there is a reason why the likes of Nino Schurter doesn't race on the road. I think because he specializes in his specific discipline, and I think if you add like a mountain bike loop to a road race, then you kind of have to qualify it as another sport in general. And I think that we are seeing more and more that that a lot of these road bikes can handle these adverse conditions. I mean, like Paul was saying, with bigger tire clearances now, with disc brakes, I know, but with the addition of disc brakes, you can have bigger tires. For instance, I bet you most of the riders on that stage were running 28s just for that added grip and comfort on the day. But we're seeing a new evolution of the road bike that can handle these type of scenarios. And I think if you add something else to it, then you almost kind of take away that evolution of what the road bike is becoming, and kind of just pigeonhole it into that one area, rather than what we're seeing as like something that can handle a gravel climb like the ones that we did the other day.
It's funny that you mentioned the switching of bikes, because speaking of alternative sources, some of my news stories, Tom Pidcock just dominated the second round of the World Cup in Novo Mesto, Czech Republic. He won, Matthew van der Poel second, and Jackson, you mentioned Schurter, and all of a sudden you're saying, wait, he doesn't do road, but then these roadies show up and absolutely crush a mountain bike World Cup. It would appear that mountain bike scene is now suffering from the same symptoms as road cycling. Is there anything these guys can't do? Are we entering the new wave of the future where maybe all cyclists can be the same? You can potentially dominate on multiple surfaces, or are these guys just absolute mutants, and we're into a special lightning in a bottle type of a moment?
I think it's a good thing if you want to cross over. That's fine. John Tomac did it. He raced. Yeah. I mean, he was
not at this level.
No, he was mountain bike, and then he raced in pro over in Europe. He wasn't successful.
He wasn't winning these major races.
Yeah,
I mean, no disrespect to John Tomac. Guy's a fucking stud, but
still, he crossed that line. If you want to cross that line, that's fine. But when you talk about, a race, where you change bikes, that's a different thing. I will point out that Tom
Pidcock
raced raced a BMC 4-stroke blacked out. It's a BMC.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was his bike of choice.
Jackson's pointing over his shoulder.
Mojo Cycles
podcast sponsored by Giant. Mojo Cyclery. Yeah, they are the guys who took care of us. I said that in the last podcast, didn't I? Yeah, very great for them. Okay, I'm just throwing stuff out here, and I know that there are going to be some people who are going to call, because I don't answer the questions. I just ask the questions. So it makes me sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm okay with that, because I'm putting you guys on the spot, because the listeners are going to give you guys shit. Because
I'd like to touch, and I'm sure Jackson does too. Let's not close that door, because I
haven't closed it. Okay. I'm still expanding.
But I think it's great to see that opens the door for people like me who I don't watch much or pay attention to cross-country mountain biking. I am now.
Really?
So, because of those two guys,
That's why I'm asking, is this a good thing? This is a good thing.
Yeah. And then those mountain bike guys might start watching cross. They might start getting, you're going to get that cross talent.
Yeah.
And Bernal started off mountain biking.
Yeah.
He was not a road rider. So,
Yeah. Caleb, sorry, who's the Australian who won the Tour? Why am I drawing a blank?
Cadell Evans.
Cadell Evans,
He was a
mountain biker. Yeah. Sorry, Jay.
No, you're good. I think we are creating, like we were just saying, a world where it's no longer the best one discipline cyclist. We are creating the best cyclist in general. And I think with the likes of Wout and Mathieu van der Poel and Tom Pidcock, we're seeing all around the best cyclists win these races. And I think that creates a generation that is unlike any other that we've ever really seen before. And I think whether it be a lightning in a bottle thing or whether it be something to stick around, I think it's something that's really cool. I mean, I know Alpecin Fenix in the Giro has brought some riders that do cross discipline that are of that cross discipline ilk. So I think it's really cool that we're starting to see that.
And then on top of that, speaking of alternative surfaces, I'm apparently one of the only people who barely knew of Trobro-Léon, this race that happened this last weekend, which looks like more of a. I saw some stretches that looked like more of a fucking mountain bike race than a road
Farm
race.
tracks.
Yeah.
We have them around here. We'll have to go on a
know.
ride, and I will show
Well,
you.
we ride on them all the time.
No,
but
I'm talking like
okay.
that.
But that's not a road race, is it?
Well, that's been going on since '84. It was an amateur race when it started in 1984, and then became a pro race in like 2000, and then I think was it 2005 or something. Now, I think recently it just became a 1.1 on the pro level. So. Yeah, I think that could be, it's in Brittany part of France, northwestern, and they deemed it the western hell of the west, or the west.
Yeah.
Hell of the north. It's the hell of the west, and so
that was a 3-day stage race in Colorado.
Yeah.
And the brothers, what are the last name of the brothers? God damn it, the Davey and Marcus Summers brothers won. Yeah. Jackson still hasn't seen that movie, have you? God damn it, Jackson. American Flyers. You consider yourself a cyclist? You've never seen American Flyers?
But
Kevin Costner brought the mustache into style back like 30 years ago.
And you tried it
for cyclists.
Not so successful.
Yeah, I need to bring it back.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, yeah, it's been around. It's interesting, and that was kind of the area of France where, had I gone over in '88, I would have been there.
So I guess my main thing is two questions. Number one, do these surfaces really have a place in stage racing? And I think you guys have already answered that, because stage racing is such a specific beast within itself. I don't know about you guys, by the way. I've been having a tough time switching from classics to stage racing as a fan, watching the differences between the two. I don't know if I like it, and I'm working my way into it, but stage racing is so set upon day in, day out, this and that, the focus, the terrain. Does the surface of the road really need to be another added element? Because there's always the people, the naysayers, who think that pavé shouldn't be in the Tour de France. And so that's my first question, is that. And my second question is dealing with, is this the future of bike racing? We're talking about multi-surface events where, especially in this country where we're dealing with permit problems, we're dealing with traffic issues, we're dealing with, the only thing you can get is a spirited ride, because that's just out in traffic, or you're on a enclosed loop that you can, that's a construction zone that people are building houses, because that's all we can get anymore. These mixed surfaces tend to be out in the middle of nowhere. So I know I'm jumping around, but my two questions are, number one, mixed surfaces in stage racing, yay or nay, and why or why not? And my number two is this where we're headed? Are we going to see a lot more of mixed surfaces in bike racing, especially in this country? Jackson.
Yeah, I think, to answer the first question, absolutely yay. I think that these type of mixed surfaces definitely do belong in a stage race, because I think a stage race is the ultimate test of a cyclist's limit, and I want to see, like I said before, that ultimate cyclist rather than just the ultimate road rider. I think that makes for a much more exciting race and a much more well-rounded bike rider altogether. Is this the future? I also think yes. Like I said before, road bikes with the addition of disc brakes are moving in that direction, where they can fit these things that can help with to cope with this mixed terrain surfaces. I mean, for instance, the bike behind me, my BMC, it can fit 28s, but my girlfriend's bike Max, which is probably, I don't know, Dad, what would you say, 10 years old, 12 years old, something like that?
God, at least that. Probably 15.
Yeah, 15 can fit absolutely maximum 25s. So it shows how the evolution is going, and I think that we are going to see in the future that bikes like this can now handle these types of situations, and I think this type of racing is here to stay.
I'm the only thing I'm going to say contrary to what you just stated, Jackson, is the fact that there are people who are going to say that stage racing should not be a matter of equipment and luck. Because sometimes to does tire size decide a Tour de France champion? And does a miss, yes, I'm sure luck plays into it, but should it be the deciding factor of a Tour champion? So
who's to say that, here's my argument for that particular question. Sure. Who's to say that that's going to decide whether the person is a champion or not? Because it could happen to somebody that's not in that. It's just part of bike racing. He could, on a good surface, a broken bottle could cut it out, cut his tire or, grease out. That's a part of cycling, to answer the first question, I think it's always been a part, but not a major part to have multi-surfaces. Good thing. It doesn't need to increase. A stage or two, one stage for cobbles or like Wednesday stage for me, that's good. It's like a time trial. It's like anything else. You don't want to just keep growing and growing. Now, they did have a dirt climb, yesterday. Yeah. And so, those things, that's fine. That's pushing the envelope for me a little bit. When it comes to equipment, I don't want to have to change a bike completely, that the bike that you start on and you look at, like you guys were talking about the Belgian waffle ride that you guys are going to do. Yeah. Trying to choose what bike because 90% of it is road. Yeah. But there's some you got to cross a river and everything else. So there's a little bit of a balance, but you're going to choose the one that's going to, if 90% of that is road, just like Paris-Roubaix, 250 kilometers, 50 kilometers of that is grueling, nasty cobble. They're not going to go with a 30, 38 or a 40 gravel bike because it's faster on those paves, which has been proven. But you're going to win, the other 200 kilometers. So, I think, anyway, if I answer that question is... I'm just sitting here thinking, is a bike race defined by the bike you straddle at the start?
Well, I think what's really interesting about that question is that, for instance, Ineos, they're so big on those marginal gains that, for instance, I've seen multiple videos. Giacomo Nizzolo, for instance, he waxes his chain with like these ceramic speed waxes. Yeah, and it's all about these very little gains that can win you the race, or that can reduce the amount of watts that you have to put out for the better benefit of it all. As much as we like it or not, cycling has very much become a technical sport of what bike you choose. And for instance, I don't know what bike Bernal had on the day or what equipment he had on the day, but I think, like you said earlier, I definitely think that luck is definitely a big player in a Grand Tour, but I also think that sometimes your equipment's if you have the right equipment and you have the equipment that's properly set up for the day, I think that can definitely change that luck in a different way.
It's interesting, especially with Paul, with talking to you about this kind of stuff, when because I know that you have a tendency to you're pure, you're dyed in the wool road, but yet the spirited ride you put together was probably a third mixed surface. It was gravel, and it's just
I think you could still have fun and go fast on gravel, the gravel that I chose. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the gravel brain trust, group site that I follow on. Sure. Justin's
with
in there.
A bunch of our buddies.
Somebody had a picture of a ribbon of gravel road, and they're like, oh, that's, look at that. Everybody made a comment. It's like, I would do that because I could do that on my road bike. Sure. But I'm not going to put a 43, 45 on there. I don't want to do that type of stuff. If I can do it on a 25, and I can get a 28 on my rim brake PMC as it is now. Yeah. There's no need for me to try and go on harder surface. And I just want to touch on, Ineos is a team that's so rich that they get to pick and choose with the equipment that they have.
You're going back to brakes again, aren't you?
How'd you know?
Yeah.
But here again, they have but they chose they could have disc brakes, and they're only dyed in wool that are running rim brakes. Yeah. And I think I mentioned on the ride on Saturday, it's like, Yeah, on that rainy descent when they split things open, like three stages or 2 stages ago, it was all Ineos at the front diving in those corners and stuff. So, I think other disciplines, they're fine with. I think they're great with disc brakes, but this is not one that's needed. But
I do want to quickly mention before I switch topics here, or thoughts here, that this podcast is sponsored by Giant Bicycles, even though these guys keep mentioning another brand.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Hey, you know what? Bicycles are bicycles, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get on one that you love and ride the one that you love. I love my Giant. You guys love your BMCs. If somebody's got a problem with that, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So
I sold Giants for a long time. They're a great bike. Wonderful.
So there we go. I don't think we're ever going to get to a solution of this mixed surface concept, because I think it's here to stay, as Jackson said.
So what's your opinion, Mr. I ask the questions?
This is the kind of stuff that I started the podcast with, talking to you guys about. I'm always looking for different ways to race a bike. Mm-hmm. I think we have to. I think the days of time trial crit road race are over. And I think especially in terms, if we want to build numbers for this sport, we are going to see gigantic population increases in events that multitudes of people can race. They can race against each other, or they can race against themselves, or they can race against the course. I think we need a shit ton more of that, or the sport's gonna just go away. We can't. This sport cannot base itself off of middle-aged white men. It's a failing demographic. And I think the only way we can do it is to mix things up and to think outside the box and come up with different ideas. And I'm saying I will always do a 3-stage race. If somebody has a Tour de Bloom drink, if somebody has that race and they're setting it up, and that format isn't going to die, but it isn't going to be the predominant form. If there's somebody's going to come up with a mixed stage race where it starts off on a gravel trail and it runs into road and then it ends up on something else completely different, I think that's going to do nothing but build the sport. When I go out to a Wednesday night mountain bike race and they've got record numbers shortly after a COVID pandemic and they're running it in a time trial format, that's a hit. That's a success. And there are people out there on bikes and they want to race bikes. And those are the people that might do a crit or might do a road race or might do all this kind of stuff. But
so are you saying no? Do you think then road riding should morph into this? You're saying should morph into having like multi-discipline like gravel and stuff. I don't
think it should morph, but I think it should accept that is going to be an alternative method of racing your bike. That these events are going to happen and accept it.
Yeah, I think you should, and just to be the devil's advocate, and I kind of disagree with you because I like having disciplines.
Sure,
and I don't mind creating a separate discipline, just like what do they call the Stokers, where there's a swim. Or a ski downhill, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Those are all fun, you know, and they're great. Those things can go on, but, to me, cross-country mountain bikers are different from downhillers.
Absolutely,
and those who do multi-sports are different. I don't think that road cycling should just all of a sudden say, okay, here we go. We got some gravel, so we can get some gravel people in here.
Yeah.
And then make them do a crit because road people like me want to do a crit, and the gravel people are like, what's this insanity?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some people will embrace that and some won't. But anyway, my opinion is...
I agree with you, though. But I think that, hell, if I was a runner, which I never will be, if I was a runner, I would say I run marathons. I run road marathons. I'm not a big trail runner, but I'll run them for fun. Mm-hmm. Color runs are fucking stupid, but they get a lot of people out there running, throwing colors at each other. Yay! All that bullshit. But it's an event, and it gets a lot of people. Spartan runners are people who like to run and do burpees and carry gigantic buckets of
Cowbells.
water. And that's cool. They're into that. So it is technically a form of running. I guess my point I'm trying to bring across is that these are ways that we're going to get more people on bikes, and in order for the crits to happen, we need enough people to go, I think I'll try it. I don't know. Yeah. So there we go. There's no way we came to a conclusion on this topic either. I mean, there's no way. But
well, the question is whether you think, gravel and pave should be in the Grand Tour.
I personally, I love it. I love watching it. I loved that climb, 2 days ago. I thought it was awesome. I am looking forward to Wednesday. I don't know if a dangerous course should have an effect on the overall of a Grand Tour.
I don't think it's dangerous. It's just some people don't have that skill that can climb, like the Zonkalon, faster than the guy that can do on the gravel.
Yeah.
And then they lose their advantage. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
TJ Van Garderen did not like having the Paris-Roubaix section. He thought that was stupid.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, what are you talking about? It's flat. It's just like all the other people,
Prepared for it. Yeah.
They prepared for it. Everybody's in the same box, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's
Jay,
one day.
Yeah. Jay, anything to close that topic out before we have some lighthearted fun?
Well, like I've been saying, I think it should stay, and I think it's here to stay, because I think that we should create a time where one cyclist is not just pigeonholed into one specific area. Yes, they can be really good at one thing, but I think that it's really entertaining, and it makes bike racing more exciting to watch a rider like Brunel have the proper technique and the capabilities to fly up a dirt climb and not lose any power because of it. And I think it just creates a world where we can see the likes of Tom Pidcock and Mathieu Van der Poel win both races on every single category, and it's exciting and it's entertaining.
It is. I love it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I loved it. Watching Bernal climb that dirt climb was just, my jaw was on the floor. I was blown away. So anyway, moving on to a little kind of fluff topic, 10 things out here, brought to you by our friends at Mojo Cyclery. Speaking of the constant bikes we have out there, Gemelli Coffee, the official pre of the Packfiller. Check them out at gemellicoffee.com. And our friends, do I have to admit, I'm wearing their shirt tonight at Athletic Brewing Company. Great tasting brews, but please don't get all elitist and call them beer. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. Check out all their offerings via the link at packfiller.com. So I had this little fun thing to take us out, and I know it's probably going to be a little repetitive, but I always still find it kind of fun. And it's going to be a rapid fire because we're at an hour and 12 minutes into a podcast. So we're going to go the best and the worst, gentlemen. The best and the worst. After all our time that we've had over the last couple weeks in Jackson's new bike, I thought it'd be fun to reminisce a little bit and talk about the best and the worst days and stuff you have had in your cycling careers. These are sometimes rapid fire questions I throw at kind of the snooty, not snooty, the big name guests, the good gets. And now I'm just going to throw it down to the dregs and you guys in the bottom of the barrel. So this is going to be quick. We'll go, should we go Paul, Jackson, Pat, in that order. Worst bike you've ever owned, Paul Main.
My Clonago Master Light.
Oh, God, that breaks my
Extra
heart.
Light.
Breaks my heart.
Yeah, it was all the steel version.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Jackson,
worst bike you've ever owned?
Man, all of them have been great because they've been all steps up, but I think probably that trek, that Gary Fisher trek that weighed like 400 pounds.
Yeah.
With that mountain bike. Yeah, the first 29er of the family.
That was a heavy one. That was a Trek Marlin. That was a big, heavy one.
Yeah.
Are we seeing worst? Okay, worst bike I have ever owned, and I have to say my father kept buying me Vituses back in the day, and they were cool looking. They were stained top tubes, glued together. It sounds bad because it probably was.
And they were.
My dad bought them because Sean Kelly rode them, and they were noodles. Yep. They were noodles. Paul Main, worst shoes you have ever owned?
I was very disappointed in my physique because I liked their saddle, but I had a physique pair of shoes, and they
Didn't
were
fit
the
you.
same size. Yeah, my right shoe was just. I should have returned them.
Really?
I just suffered through. I figured,
Well,
it'll fit my feet. It never
No.
did. Yeah,
No.
it was terrible.
Jackson wears shoes.
I'll probably say, and this is a controversial one because they were so cool looking, was those look shoes that I had.
Oh, the retro looks that were like hand-me-downs from your grandfather.
They were so
really?
cool, but
The Lauren Bouchard
Oh, yeah.
look shoes.
Yeah.
they hurt my feet so bad that I was like, these are so cool, I have to wear them. But they never were great.
Mine were, and this is complete irony, a pair of Patrick cycling shoes I had. They were as soft as a pair of slippers. They were just I could take the heel and bend it up and
Wow.
back. They were so bad, but I wanted them because Bernardino had them.
Mm-hmm.
Worst helmet you've ever owned, Paul Mean?
I had a Veta, the hard shell. That was my. No, wait. Before that, remember Monarch?
Oh,
Monarch. It was Alan. He was a small Irish guy with the Killian's Red team. He had one.
I'm McCormick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He had one, so I bought one, and it was terrible. Yeah.
Terrible. Jackson, worst helmet.
I had a
He's still
Bell
new.
one that I won at a mountain bike race.
Yeah.
And I look back on it now after having this, like, I really like the look of Pox. Dad, I've talked to you about this, and I've talked about this with my girlfriend, but, like, looking back at that Bell, it was awful.
It was ugly.
It was pretty ugly.
Mine was my first Bell, and I don't mean to bash on Bell for this show, but
V1?
it was before the V1 Pro, and this was back when hairnets were legal.
Oh, yeah.
and people were doing that or no helmets.
That
And
cream colored thing.
it was white and it had red stripes going
Yes.
down the center of it, and it was huge. And I remember
It's like a salad bowl.
yeah, that's people would ask me, Pat, what's the salad of the day? And I'm like, fuck you, my dad makes me wear this. Worst luck in a race you've ever dealt with, Paul Main.
Luck.
Worst luck. Just worst fucking day on them.
No, well, I mentioned it before as a crash at Manitou crit where
Yeah.
I was feeling good and I was trying to bridge a gap for a Roger drink.
No, we're out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jackson's out too.
And yeah, things just went haywire. I did major damage to my bike and my body. Yeah, that was bad.
Okay, that was worst day in a race. So I'll take out luck. Jackson, worst day in a race.
I had two pretty rough days where first I did the time. This is a junior stage race. I did a time trial. I flattened. So that sucked. And I rode back on a flatbed truck for the beginning with another one of the people who got a flat. And then the next day, I crashed super hard in the crit. And like guy was pushing me to the outside, and I was just like, I have nowhere else to go but the curb. And I went over the bars straight into the big river rocks.
It was gravel. Yeah, it was
That
big,
was
thick
probably the
rock.
worst luck I've ever had in my life.
My worst day in a race was I drove all the way over to the other side of the state to a crit, and I was staying at my mom's place. She was living over there, and they weren't there, so I'm sitting in an empty house, and I was bored, so I turned on the TV. It's about morning, and the race wasn't until the afternoon, until you do Cat 1-2s. And I was just flipping through the channels, and I was like, oh, I've always heard about this movie, so I'll watch this movie. I watched Pink Floyd's The Wall on TV, and I got to the crit, and I was so fucking depressed. I quit after 3 laps. I was just like, dude, that was such a bummer movie.
Mess with your psyche.
It did. It totally messed me up. Worst trend you have ever fallen victim to, Paul Main?
Huh. Let me think of that.
Jackson, you got something in the meantime?
I have not fallen into many trends, but I'm interested to see what my future self thinks of my arrow trend.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's
that's a
here to
good one.
stay, but I'm interested to see what I do in like 10, 15 years, for instance.
All right.
All I can think of is I had a saddlebag once. That was terrible.
I was on that ride this last weekend. I have a bee sting on the inside of my elbow.
Yeah, I see that.
And I was thinking to myself, I need to probably get a way to carry an EpiPen when I'm riding. and I might have to get a little tiny. I might have to get a little saddlebag to put behind my seat, and you'll probably make fun of me because I'm going to do it.
Yes, I will.
Worst trend I fell victim to is definitely the zinc oxide on your nose back in the 80s.
No breathe right. Did you do a breathe right?
No, I didn't do breathe rights. I didn't do breathe rights. Worst event you have ever attended?
Wow.
Ooh. I think I've got a good one for this one. I think when we went to Loop Loop.
Oh God!
And we did that mountain bike race, and I got lost, and the only way I made my way back was that I found another rider that was lost. And we just had to kind of put our brains together and find our way back, and that was probably the worst event I've ever gone.
Rode by Braille. Yeah.
I'd have to say there was, in the height of all this, when racing was really big, Moses Lake, which is out in the middle of nowhere, did a crit.
Yeah.
And driving there all jacked up, and this is when fields used to be big, and there's no big fields. I mean, we had like 15, which now is like, wow, we got a big field.
Yeah.
But back then it's like, what the hell? And no one was there, and the wind blows through there, and there's like sand blowing in the air. It's like, what are we doing this for? It just seems stupid. It was just dumb.
Worst race I've ever attended, worst event I've ever attended was a stage of Milwaukee Super Week back in the day. For like 3 weeks of every race was an omnium. You could do 3 weeks of racing, and if you blew up one day, you'd have the next day. It was freaking awesome going there and racing. But I remember one day in particular, we were, I think it was like some area of Milwaukee itself, and two things happened. Number one, the race was so delayed that the announcer was reading the Sunday comics to us because we couldn't leave. We all had to stay there. That was number one. Number two was they said before we started, they said, "Hey guys, you're going to be crossing 2 bridges as you go through this crit." And the bridge was like a grate, and they said it's like a cheese grater. So make sure if you crash to put your hands in a fist so your fingers don't get caught in the bridge and rip your fingers off. Yeah, that was their advice at the beginning of the fucking race. Worst song you've ever had stuck in your head during a race or a ride? Yours might have been this last Sunday.
No, it wasn't, but I had one stuck in there. Ranking. No, it was, and I hate Styx. And it was Come Sail Away.
Oh, no.
I hate that song. And that was my first crit ever. With your sister was there and signed me up. I told that story, but I couldn't get it out of my head. I hated it. Yeah.
All right, Jackson.
I've probably Call Me Maybe has been a pretty annoying one.
Oh no!
Oh, that would be a bad one.
It's like one of those songs, or like the worst is when you get like only specific amount of words stuck in your head that you can't repeat the whole thing.
The chorus, the
chorus. The whole
chorus.
Song, but it's only the chorus in my head, and it's an annoying chorus after a while.
Yeah, I had a Pet Shop Boys song stuck in my head. I remember once, and I think it was "I got the brains, you got the looks, let's make I got money. I got the brains, you got the looks." I didn't know the song, and it was terrible. All right, switching quickly to the best bike you have ever owned, Paul Main. And this is
it's a tie between my Fuso and what I have now.
Really? Okay.
And my BMC. Yeah.
Jackson Bulger, best bike you've ever owned.
My BMC Time Machine Road 01, which is currently behind me.
And a ding in the seat tube. A ding in the down tube.
It's like a goiter.
Yeah. I'm gonna genuinely say that I truly do love my Giant. I do, and that is a sponsor plug. But honestly, my best bike I've ever owned is my Harry Gary custom made steel bike in the other room. That is just it is a work of art. It is beautiful, and just the ride of steel I will never ever give up. Best kit you have ever owned. Best cycling ensemble.
Mm-hmm. I had some real shit ones.
Yeah, I'm switching around because we're short of time.
Well, I mean, at the time they were pretty cool, but you look back at really dates. So I'd have to say something that holds true throughout. A Rive had, which I like, is down. It's that lime green one that's from that one.
Yeah,
I thought that's a classic jersey. That's a
Pearl Izumi.
Yeah. That you wouldn't believe it, but I had something to do with that design. But anyway, yeah. Super Conflicts, because my hero is Hedwig van Hooydonk.
Okay.
He raced for him. So.
I always thought it was Jean-Paul van Poppel.
And that too.
Yeah. Jackson, best kit.
I'm not gonna say it because we have it now, but I'm just gonna say it because it's the best fitting kit I've ever had in my life. Genuinely, the Kerner Rive kit that we have.
It is a good kit.
That's close. That was my close second.
Especially that long sleeve jersey is so nice to have. I love the Kerner Rive kit we have.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, and they're not a sponsor, but I'll just say we bought it from Panache. I like the kit. I just don't like that I had to buy. Maria's turning on the oven. I had to buy an XXL kit because my shoulders are big, and so the sleeves are like twice as long as my body. So my my long sleeve jersey, it's all bunched up. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But I like the kit. The Castelli shorts from our last kit I really liked too, though. I definitely did. Best innovation you have ever experienced in the sport. Been a part of the experience, the innovation, Paul.
This is clipless pedals.
That's mine too.
Yeah.
That's mine too.
Huge.
Yep.
It sounds silly, but if you rode with clips,
yeah.
That's crazy.
I remember that. You had to have the Alfredo Binda straps or stuff like that. Yeah. Jackson, best innovation you've experienced now that he's been on carbon fiber.
I was about to say I thought it'd be disc brakes, but ever since experiencing electronic shifting, I might say that it is insane the difference.
It's pretty cool.
I didn't realize it would be that big of a difference.
It's pretty cool. I'm kind of jealous that way.
I'm thankful you didn't say disc brakes.
Yeah, I don't think he was gonna.
No.
Your personal favorite pre and post, meaning what's your coffee drink beforehand, what's your beer after, or your beverage afterwards?
For me, I like a Doppio.
Doppio espresso.
Yeah.
Explain that to a common person.
That's just a double shot of espresso.
Double shot.
But it depends on where I go. If I'm meeting at a coffee shop that I don't know their coffee, then I'm not going to have that.
Okay.
I'll have a double latte. I'll have some milk to kind of get rid of it.
Kill it.
Afterwards, I just drink it. It's a Eyinger.
Yeah, okay.
The Post.
The Eyinger.
Yeah. Because it's light and it's refreshing and it's not heavy and
it smells like bananas.
Yeah, that's
I know. We said that at the beginning.
Yeah. It's good.
Jackson, pre and post.
Pre.
Yep.
I usually have a mocha.
Because
we have a machine here that can make it. So I usually do that. I even did that on our Saturday ride. I had a little 12-ounce mocha. And then afterwards, not only because it's a sponsor, but also because I enjoy it heavily, is genuinely the Scratch Labs recovery drink. That's something that I usually have. I've been slacking on it for the past couple of days, so I gotta get back on that. But I really like the chocolate, and especially what you do, the chocolate. Like you make a little mocha out of the
coffee and chocolate. It's
coffee and chocolate. It's really good.
I have to say that if I'm not drinking a beer, that's what I have. I have that at home. Yeah, I like it a lot.
My pre is always a double short latte, 8 ounce. I don't want a whole lot of milk getting in the way there. I can pretty much guarantee that's going to be fairly good wherever I go. Or the pour over drip. That's so fucking good whenever they do that. My post, if I'm going out for a beer, I really like that Eyinger with you the other day. That was really delicious. But usually I actually, and this is a sponsor, an unintentional sponsor plug, I have a fridge full of Athletic in there, and I always come home and I sit on the deck and I look at Strava and I drink one of those.
Oh, excellent.
Best movie or comedy, either a comedy or drama to get you into the mindset of bike racing or away from the mindset. So what's your escape movie that you go to? I know several of Paul's favorites, but
to get away from
either to get you psyched up for a bike ride or to get away from the world to escape. So I'll let you pick one.
I've already mentioned that.
Yeah.
Well, so to get me jacked for a bike ride, since I mentioned my two favorite movies, like 4 or 5 podcasts ago. So one that get me really going is Full Metal Jacket. I'm just kidding. No.
Where's my scream? There it is. Yeah.
No. There isn't. I don't think there's a movie. I don't watch movie. I watch cycling stuff if I want to get jacked up.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a cycling movie. obviously.
There's some things. There's the old Beyond the Peloton that Garmin did back in 2008, 9, and 10, and 11. Those are always good to, when they have it's just kind of slow melodic, just,
Okay.
but it's all about cycling. So
Okay.
those, yeah.
You picked Psych Up. Jackson, do you have one that you either use to come up or just to escape? It doesn't. I just try to pick things that are the best.
What's kind of funny is I'm very much like Paul in that sense, that where I pretty much everything that I watch kind of involves cycling and bikes. So I think one movie, and I honestly think what got me into cycling is the movie Premium Rush. Not the best movie in the world, is it? But I think it is it like got me so into that headspace of like, this is so cool, like this is really something that I want to do. Other than that, I would suggest that movie for someone who wants to watch something that's kind of mind-numbingly exciting. But I also have a lot of YouTube videos that I go to as well.
Mine's The Fifth Element. I don't know why. Whenever that movie's on, I have to watch it. I always watch it. My wife looks at me and thinks I'm insane. Okay, I did have a whole other category of dreaming. Things you dreamt that would be perfect. It's like, oh my God, if everything was perfect. For example, one was a place you'd build a second home just for the sake of cycling there.
Oh,
Anybody want to
easy.
answer quick? Paul?
Oh, man, Ghent.
Jackson? Place you'd build a second home just for the sake of riding.
Bend, Oregon.
Bend? Wow. Yeah, okay. I have no idea where I'd build it. I might do it in Winthrop, Washington. Winthrop's got a little bit of everything.
If you go to Belgium and you like road bikes.
Well, yeah. Well, I haven't been to Belgium.
Yeah.
Band you'd like to perform at your funeral.
I have.
Yeah. What? What? Wow. Place a band you'd like to perform at your funeral.
Huh. Boy, that's I'll let Jackson, let me ponder that
I'm
one.
Foo Fighters, man. Foo Fighters I want playing at my funeral. I want it to rock.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Jackson, you got anything to go out with?
Oh man, it's either I might get shit for this, but either Harry Styles or the Black Keys.
That's an interesting mix. Okay.
Yeah.
Paul, quick.
I think I'll go solemn. I'm thinking M83, and the particular song is outro. The outro instead of intro, it's the outro. It's the way out. Yeah.
Last question. Cyclist you'd like to meet and have a beer with. Living or dead?
Oh, living or dead? I know.
Who?
Brick Skoda.
Wow.
The only true Flandrian.
Okay.
Yeah.
God. Jay?
I'm just gonna sit up and show my shirt again.
Peter?
Peter Sagan,
Peter.
my hero.
You know what? I always thought when I was younger that I'd want to have a beer with Bernardino, but I think Bernardino is just
He'd probably throw it in your
uptight.
face.
He probably, he wouldn't say
Punch you.
anything. He'd just sit there and go, can I leave now?
Yeah.
You know, how long is this
Stupid
beverage
American.
supposed to happen? And I don't know if Eddie Merckx would be my kind of guy either, so I don't know. I really don't know. Sean Kelly, I bet it'd be fun. Sean probably drink.
Mm-hmm.
He'd probably drink a couple
Oh, yeah.
times.
He's Irish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's in the blood. There we go. An hour and 31 minutes into a podcast. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. All for the price of nothing. So I would like to hear from you guys, the listeners, on either our super secret Facebook or the other Facebooks or the social medias or anything like that in terms of what you think about, first of all, the Spirited Ride series. I know I've had several people asking me about the DIY races. Are we going to do the DIY races again after the pandemic is now coming to a hopeful close, and if we're still going to do that, and would people be still interested in doing some sort of a weekly series or a ride or a challenge like that? That's number one. Number two, I'd also like to hear your opinions on this mixed road stuff, this mixed surface stuff. I mean, I don't think that's a subject we're ever going to get over, and I don't think it's going anywhere. So, speaking of not going anywhere, we are going to go somewhere. This is the end of the Packfiller podcast. I got my own podcast name mixed up there. That was pretty bad. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to you guys for listening. Thank you, Jackson, for speaking to us from Portland, Oregon.
Thank you very much.
Paul Main, thank you for speaking to us from a few feet away from me at your perch.
With 2 shots.
With 2 shots. 2 shots! We're all that. No, Jackson wins your shot.
Coming up.
Tomorrow.
All right, we're going to expect a video clip of you on Wednesday to tell us how you're feeling.
All right. It'll hopefully come.
It won't be the weekly ride, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, thanks everybody. That's clear. That's
You son of a bitch! You've got reverb on your mic. That's why
No.
you sound better than I do.
these